Hey everyone, this is Crazy Talk. Sorry I've not made another video in a few days, but hopefully I'm going to try and keep them a little bit more regular. Now, if you can stand to watch this video about me talking while I take the occasional sip of posh chai tea, then we're going to get along just fine, because I really need my tea. So, today I wanted to break in a subject which is going to be massive. I'm going to have to make several videos on kind of breaking down bits of it. But I thought I would start just on a general level of self-harm, self-injury, self-mutilation, whatever you want to call it. And I think when a lot of people who are kind of unfamiliar with mental health and self-harm, at all, the image that comes to mind of when somebody says self-harm is some kind of little outcast teenage girl who has got some like little tiny cuts on her wrist and is kind of going, "Oh, look at me! I'm so dangerous. I'm so hardcore. Pay attention to me, please. Look at me." And that could not be any further from the truth. It's almost funny. It's come back around. It's so unfunny that it is now funny again, to me anyway. That there is seemingly this preconceived notion that people who self-harm are clearly attention whores. Because, let me tell you, there can be people who you know in your life, and they could self-harm. And you might never know. Because some people, a lot of people, are very, very good at hiding it. And would be mortified if anybody found out about them self-harming. And again, that needs to change. One of the reasons why this channel is made is to stop this stigma and to stop people being ashamed of the problems and the way that they're dealing with them, and to just get out there and get the help they need and not have to worry about judgment from other people. Because ignorance is just, ignorance is horrible. So, let me see. Self-harm, yes. Attention seeking, no. However, in a certain context, it can be kind of perceived as wanting attention, because, and I'm gonna explain this as thoroughly as I can, so that nobody bites my head off. As I've just mentioned, there are people out there who would be absolutely mortified if people found out that they were self-harming and they saw kind of evidence of them self-harming, whether that was scars or previous cuts, whatever. However, there are some people out there who do have scars and cuts on show, and maybe there is a hope there that somebody will take notice, and say, well, hey, you are obviously going through something pretty fucking horrible. You need to be taken care of, and I'm going to help you. That is what some people kind of want, I suppose. They're suffering so much that they've taken to doing this to themselves to try and cope with it. And they want someone to pay attention because they just can't say it in words. So I want you to just think about that for a second. And also I would like to kind of just expand on the methods of self-harming, because most people seem to think that the self-harming is literally just confined to cutting, whether that's razor blades or whatever people want to use to cut themselves with. And again, that is false. There are many ways that people can self-harm, including cutting, burning, small overdoses on things like painkillers, and kind of hitting, bruising yourself, purposefully throwing yourself downstairs, that kind of thing, picking at skin, pulling hair out, that kind of thing. It all comes under self-harm. And okay, I know it sounds like I'm kind of promoting it, and I have said this in not the last video, the one before. Again, I do not promote self-harm. In an ideal world, nobody would, and nobody would have to. But it does happen. And so I kind of want to go into some of the reasons as well that people might self-harm. For me personally, it was a way of coping with stuff that was going on around me, and that was the only way that I could kind of release it. The things that I found, self-harm is a way for me to calm down, especially if my anxiety just skyrockets. That is something that brings me down. And if you look at it from a scientific point of view, I have my camera shaking around here. If you inflict, or if the body receives pain, then the body gets a rush of endorphins, and they make you feel good. So, is it any wonder that people self-harm to make themselves feel better, to have themselves cope with the things going on around them? But that's not the only reason that people cut themselves. Some people, I say cut themselves, again, any self-harm, that's me making a mistake there. Some people self-harm to punish themselves because they have such a level of self-hatred that they feel they deserve to be punished, and this is the way to go about it. Some people find that it's the only way to make certain other feelings stop. I could go on, because really it kind of boils down to individual people, and I could go on forever about different reasons why people self-harm. But let me see. It is a very stigmatized thing, and again, it shouldn't be, because it's a symptom of something much deeper. And this has happened many different times, especially with celebrities, with kind of drug abuse, or even everyday people with drug abuse and self-harm. People tend to confuse the symptom for the disorder or the problem, and again, that's not right. People seem to think that because a person self-harms, or because a celebrity has a cocaine addiction, that's what makes them crazy, or that's what makes them depressed, or that's what blah 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 blah. But it's not. They had the problem internally, psychologically, and that is how they deal with it. And one of the ways that I explain self-harm to people who have no familiarity with it, is basically alcoholism. The way that people with alcohol addictions drink and drink and drink and drink. It's a similar concept to self-harm, because it's addictive. The endorphin rush is addictive, and it can get to the point where people are self-harming more severely as time goes on, because they don't quite get the rush that they did, say, 6 months ago, when say someone was doing, maybe 4 or 5 shallow cuts, maybe X months down the line, it has to be deeper, it has to be more cuts. It's an addictive thing, and that's why people need help to get over these kinds of things. So this video has been just over 10 minutes long now, and yeah, I'm going to be looking at, I've actually got a list here of stuff to talk about in the future. There's going to be lots of different kind of sub bits of self-harm, which I know I haven't really said much in this video, but I needed to break the subject in one way or another so that I could go into some finer details in other videos. So, with all that said and done, this is Crazy Talk, and well, I hope you have a lovely day.